Good morning. Hello, everybody. This is Harry. So early in the morning. Just dropped my wife off at work. She should be at work at 7 this morning. Anyways, I'm still tired. Need to shave and all that good stuff. I've been off work for a week. So I am responding to Banjo J, Blu-ray J. He's got a lot of nicknames. His community chat he had posted over the weekend. Jaws at 45. That's right, Jaws. 45 years ago. God, do I feel fucking old. I saw that Jaws in the show, as Mike, not Mike, but Bob likes to call it, the show. So, I have a little story. A stroll down memory lane from 1975. I was 8 years old when Jaws was released. And we lived in Long Beach, New York, on Long Island. And it was a time where my mother and father were not together. They were separated at that time. And so it was just me and my mother. And we lived on Chester Street. And there was a old house that they took these old houses and converted them into apartments. So there was a attic apartment, and then there was the middle floor, the main floor was an apartment, and then there was a basement apartment. And we lived on the top in the attic apartment. And anyways, there was a lady that lived right below us. Can't remember her name. I want to say it was Lucy. I could be wrong, but I think her name was Lucy. But she had triplets, and she was a single mother. She was raising her kids by her own. And so my mother would have, Lucy would watch me while my mother was at work. Glare. J.J. Abrams glare. So this woman Lucy, we'll call her Lucy, but I believe that's what her name was. We're going back 45 years ago. Anyways, she watched me when my mother was at work. When school was, on the weekends, or when school wasn't in session. So it was the thing I remember. She had 3 curly-haired triplets, and so one weekend that she was watching me, she asked my mother. She says, "Look, I can go into the movies. Can I take Harry with me?" And my mother said, "Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, whatever, I think my mother gave her a few dollars, for the ticket, because tickets weren't maybe $3 or something at the time for movies. So the movie theater was a walk away. It was not. It was just down the street. If you go down the end of Chester Street and make a left, go across Long Beach Boulevard and where the Jack in the Box used to be, you go across there and then make a left and go down a block. You come to the Lido Theater. And so that's where we went, to the Lido Theater, and she took me to see Jaws. Okay, so I might have told this story before, and I don't care if I did or not, but going to see Jaws at 8 years old was not the best thing in the world. Bad babysitter. And she didn't watch me much after that, because I remember going in and watching it, and I was scared shitless. To be honest, I had never seen anything like that before, not even on television. Um, back in the 70s, you only had 3 channels and, well, 4 channels if you count PBS. So it was a totally different time. And, yeah, it was, but, so I wasn't um, exposed to that. The Exorcist had come out like 2 years before. That was the last time my mother went to the movies, was when The Exorcist. I seen The Towering Inferno before that. Before I seen Jaws, my brother used to take me to the movies all the time. I saw a Godzilla movie, which I sat in the movie theater all day, but and watched it 3 or 4 times in '74. And anyways, the Jaws thing was pretty intense for me. I remember, because I just watched Jaws again. It's funny how, like, a movie that scared the crap out of you when you were a kid, now it becomes like one of your favorite movies of all time. And but I watched it the other day, last Saturday or so. Actually, everybody in the house watched it with me, which I was surprised. The wife, my stepdaughter, my youngest daughter did not want to watch it. She was afraid, and I couldn't blame her. My oldest daughter watched it with us, and yeah, it was, for 1975. That was pretty intense movie. And when we were watching it, and I was pointing out stuff, saying this scared me in the theater, and I said what made me worry, like at the beach scene. I know I'm rambling here, but anyways, on the beach scene, they had this dog. They threw a piece of wood or stick in the water, and the dog went in and got it, and never came back out. I was worried about that dog that whole movie. I was hoping the dog would show back up somewhere, and it never did. And then when that boy was out there and he got bit and the blood came up, that was like, oh my God, what the hell? I freaked out. Man. That was some intense stuff there. It was like, oh, man. And then Richard Dreyfuss goes down underwater, finds a tooth, goes to the boat, and the guy's head pops out with the eye missing. Scared the crap out of us in the movie theater because it was on a big screen. It had a stereo system, but it was in mono. But it was loud. It was very loud. So when that happened, the head popped up. I turned around and put my freaking head in the seat. Yeah, I was damaged for a few years after that, watching Jaws. And it was funny because we lived in Long Beach, New York, and on Long Island there's a lot of fishing communities and stuff. So a lot of that area looked familiar, like the houses and the boats and all that. That all was familiar to me growing up, because we would go to different villages, towns, or whatever, and you would see these areas, and it's like, oh, this looks familiar. That could have been that could have been in Jaws, the town, but it was made out in Martha's Vineyard. But those villages all kind of look alike, with the old houses and stuff like that, and the boats and stuff. And but Long Beach had a beach, because it's Long Beach, and so my mother would take me out to the beach. I would not go in the water. And she was mad because, she's like, how is he going to enjoy himself? He's out here at the beach and he's not going in the water. He's afraid of sharks. It became a discussion with my mother and Lucy that, that why would you take an 8-year-old to go see Jaws? And she said, well, I didn't know it was going to be that bad, you know? And, yeah, she didn't watch me much afterwards. Um, after that. But yeah, it took me years. Even we moved to Fort Lauderdale, and you know they're famous for their beaches here in Florida. When we moved down to Florida, and I was still afraid to go in, and I wouldn't go out to. And if I went in, I didn't go out far. I got my knees wet, whatever. So it took me a while to go back in and get comfortable, making sure there was no sharks um, in the water. You know, it was just a scary time. But now I love this movie. I have it I have it on DVD. I think the 30th anniversary edition. I have it when it released. It came with a book. I think that's the same one that Bob has. I own it on Blu-ray, the Universal 100th Anniversary Edition, and then I just got it again on 4K. I don't even own a 4K TV yet, but I got it on 4K because it has the lenticular cover on it, and it has other, some new features to it and stuff. So it's funny how a movie scared the crap out of you 45 years ago, and now become one of your favorite movies to watch. And it's still great to watch. It's when we were watching it the other day, it was like how relevant it is to what's going on today with the coronavirus. It's funny because Mayor Vaughn says we got to have the beaches open. This is how this town survives. We can't have any shark scares and force the open, and then bad things happen. And now here in Florida, the coronavirus, well, we got to open up businesses. We got to and people are being stupid here. In Florida, not wearing masks, not doing a 6 foot distancing. Where I usually go to eat lunch at Beef O'Brady's, which is next to my job. Last time I was in there, it was packed full of people. The tables weren't social distance. I sat outside. I'm not getting that shit. So, and now that it's in here in Florida, the cases have risen really bad. And in the county that I'm in, it gone up 35 cases in one day. So when I was watching that, I was like, this is just like today. We got to open up businesses, and then bad things are happening. Mayor Vaughn kind of reminds me of our governor or our president. Anyways, not to get too political, but anyways, it's relevant today. Their way of thinking. Everything, the restoration of the film was great. Looked beautiful. Actually, it looked better. It looked better than it did back in 1975. It was on film, run through a projector, and it had been shown a few times. So there was some pops and hisses. It wasn't digital like it is now, but yeah, it was Jaws 45 years ago, man. Where I got the shit scared out of me.